You know, as much as we celebrate moms, this is what I know. I know that for some of you here, today may be a little bit more difficult. Maybe you are kind of confused about a day like today. Like how do you deal with it? Because it's very complicated. Some of you walked in or you're watching on the other side of a screen and maybe you lost your mom or your mom is no longer here and you miss her deeply. Or maybe you want to be a mom, but life didn't unfold that way. Some of you, I know, are estranged from your kids. And so a day like today, Mother's Day, it's difficult when you don't have that relationship with them. Others of you, you are walking through motherhood right now, and it's a very hard season. And so a Mother's Day, it's hard, it's difficult. There's some of you, you're here simply because you want to make mom happy. You came because someone invited you today, and church is not really your thing, and you're here, and listen, I want to commend you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of church today. And however you came in, I believe that God has a message for you. I believe that God has something that He wants us all to hear, because no matter where you come from, and no matter what season that you find yourself in, we all have something in common. And the thing that we have in common is this: we all have questions. Every one of us. We all have questions. Sometimes it's hard to admit that we have questions. We tend to hide those questions, but we all have questions. In fact, just to get us started, we need to admit that, okay? So I want you to work with me. This is a participatory sport. I want you to say at the count of 3, I have questions. Let's just declare it today as we get started. 1, 2, 3. I have questions. And you may think, well, hold on, I don't have any questions right now. Well, just wait. You will. We all have questions. We've all looked up at some point and said, God, why did you let that happen? Why did she die so young? Or why didn't you heal him? Why didn't the job come through? Why did my family have to fall apart? Or why did my friends have to turn their back on me? Like we all have those questions. And what do you do? Like when you have that question, what do you do when it feels like God is silent? What do you do when it feels like he's far off? What do you do when you don't understand God? That's the question that I hope to answer. Today I've entitled the message, When Faith Has Questions. I hope you'll follow along. When Faith Has Questions. I want to introduce you to a guy by the name of Habakkuk. Now, to pronounce his name, it's almost like, you know how a cat gets a fur ball in their throat? That's kind of, you got to have that sound to it, okay? Habakkuk. Okay, that's how you say his name. Let's just say it all together at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Habakkuk. Yeah, I hear that out there. Habakkuk is one of 12 minor prophets from the Old Testament. Now, he's not minor because he's less important. The reason why we say he's a minor prophet is because of the size of his writings. It's a shorter writing. Habakkuk has 3 chapters. There are other prophets, what we would say major prophets, that write a lot more, like Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Isaiah. Habakkuk was different than all the other prophets. A prophet is someone who speaks to the people on behalf of God. Habakkuk did something different. Habakkuk actually spoke to God on behalf of the people. And it wasn't a message that was polished. It wasn't very pretty or well put together. In fact, it was very raw. It was real and just full of questions. To set up the context a little bit around Habakkuk, he lived during the reign of a very evil king. This king was very wicked. He was known for his oppression of people. He put taxes on them in a time when Judah was already overtaxed and the economic situation there was bad. And so the taxes that he enforced on people really sent them spiraling even more. He was a king that was so wicked and so oppressive that he rejected God's word. In one place in Scripture, we see where he was so far from God that he burned the prophet Jeremiah's scrolls. He burned them. That's how much he despised God. That's how far he was from God. You can read a little bit of his story in 2 Kings 23. But this king was very corrupt. Not a lot of justice going on in this time. And here we have Habakkuk. And to make matters worse, God says to Habakkuk, I'm about to do something. I'm about to send the Babylonians or the Chaldeans. I'm about to send them to bring judgment. This violent, wicked, ruthless pagan nation is about to come in and they're going to wipe you out. And so here Habakkuk is. His whole world is falling apart. He's watching a nation that he loves spiral into chaos. And like many of us, he has questions. He has questions for God, like, why are you letting this happen? Why does evil go unchecked? Why are the wicked prospering? Where are you, God? In all of this, where are you? I don't see you anywhere. And Habakkuk does not pretend. There's no pretending going on here. He doesn't pretend to have it all figured out. In fact, he just asks some very hard questions. And what we'll find in this small book is an honest, gut-level conversation between Habakkuk, a man, and God. The conversation starts like this. Chapter 1, verses 2 and 3 says, "O Lord, how shall I cry for help? How long shall I cry for help? And you will not answer me or not hear me. Or cry to you violence, and you will not save. Why do you make me see iniquity? And why do you idly look at wrong? Destruction and violence are before me. Strife and contention arise." In other words, he's saying, God, I'm crying out and it feels like you're not listening. It feels like you're nowhere around. It feels like you have nothing to say about this. See, it's the very same questions that you and I have. Like, God, why does things feel like they're so unfair? Why do evil people seem to win? Why don't you intervene? It's all questions that have run through our minds before. And what I love about this story and the way that God handles Habakkuk is the fact that God doesn't rebuke him. God doesn't look at Habakkuk and say, how dare you question me? Do you know who I am? No, God doesn't do it like that. And in fact, what God does is he listens to him. I love the way Habakkuk handles this. He doesn't walk away. He doesn't run. He doesn't say to God, forget you, I'm out of here. No, he just holds on. Because that's what real faith is. See, real faith isn't pretending you have all the answers. Real faith is being honest with your questions and still holding on. That is what real faith is. And that is what Habakkuk is doing. He has all these questions like you and I have. He's being honest. He's throwing them out to God, and God is not judging him for it. And yet he has to hear things like this. Listen to what God says to him. It says, for behold, I am raising up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, who march through the breadth of the earth to seize dwellings not their own. They are dreaded and fearsome. They all come for violence, all their faces forward. They gather captives like sand. At kings they scoff, and at rulers they laugh. They laugh at every fortress, for they pile up earth and take it. It's like God is saying to him, I'm about to get everybody's attention. I'm very familiar with the corruption and the greed and the compromise and all the idolatry that we see here. And I'm going to bring about some justice. I'm raising up your enemies. And they're going to come and they're going to take you out. And Habakkuk hears this and he begs God not to do it. That's his story. He doesn't reject God. He's just asking God, God, please don't do it this way. How many times maybe have you asked God that very same thing? We look at the name Habakkuk. In the Hebrew, it literally means to wrestle and to embrace. And it's not an either or, it's both. Habakkuk means to wrestle. Have you ever wrestled with someone? Okay, that's the picture here. You're wrestling. You're wrestling with God, but at the same time that you're wrestling with God, you're embracing him. And that is exactly what Habakkuk is doing. I'll show you this. In verse 12, it says this, are you not from everlasting? Oh Lord, my God, my Holy One. Like God, you are from the very beginning. God, you've always been. You're the beginning and you're the end. You're my creator, God. Have you not always been? Are you not from everlasting? We shall not die. He's embracing God. He's saying, God, I trust you. Oh Lord, you have ordained them as a judgment. And you, O rock, have established them for reproof. What he's doing there is he's wrestling with God. He's not like, I don't like this. I don't like what you're getting ready to do. I don't like the fact that you're using them to bring judgment on us. He says, you who are of purer eyes than to see evil and cannot look at wrong. What he's saying there to God is that, God, you are holy. You are righteous. You are so holy and so righteous. I trust you. And yet in the same moment that he says, I trust you, look, he says, why? Like he's wrestling. Why? Why do you idly look at traitors and remain silent when the wicked swallows up the man more righteous than he. Habakkuk is wrestling with God's justice, and at the same time, he's embracing God's goodness. Isn't that a picture of faith? Like, God, I don't understand what you're doing, but I'm not letting go. God, I'm hurting, but I still believe you are good. See, faith is not a straight line. Faith is a back and forth motion of wrestling and embracing and questioning and clinging. That's what faith is. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe you're here and you've grown up in church and you've believed in God for a long time, but lately your prayers just feel like they've been bouncing off of the ceiling. He's not hearing you. You're wrestling. Maybe you lost someone close to you and you're still carrying questions that haven't been answered. Maybe you're here and you're walking through divorce, or you're walking through some addiction or some depression, and your faith is barely holding on. Wherever you are, I want you to know that you're not disqualified for having questions. You're human, and you're in the right place. And if I could say anything, I want to say, just don't let go. Don't let go. It's okay to question God. I know some of you might push back a little bit and say, well, hold on a minute now. I didn't think that we're supposed to question God, right? That's not the right thing to do. Isn't that wrong? That's not holy. Have you ever read Psalms? Go read some Psalms this week. David, he did this. One minute he's praising God, and then the next minute he's crying out to him saying, God, where are you? And yet this same guy that did that is the same one that God said, he is a man after my own heart. Let me tell you something. God is not scared of our honesty. He just wants our hearts. Habakkuk, it has 3 chapters. In the first chapter, we see him praying. He's like you and I. He's praying. He's talking to God. He's having a conversation with him. And in chapter 1, oftentimes there's no answers. Chapter 1 typically doesn't come with a miracle. But when you're in chapter 1, you just keep holding on. You don't let go. In chapter 2, I hope you'll read it sometime this week. In chapter 2, you're going to see where Habakkuk is waiting. He talks about himself as being one who is sitting on the wall. He's watching and he's waiting. And let's just all be honest. There's no fun in waiting. Like, I can't stand to wait. I hate to wait. I hate to wait in traffic. Can't stand it. A couple weeks ago, I went to the license plate office here in Indian Trail to turn in a license plate. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to hand in the license plate. Over an hour later, I walk out. I hate to wait. I'm standing in this crowded room, and there's nobody's in a hurry. Maybe you feel like that. Maybe you feel like right now you're in a like a holding pattern. You're waiting. Your child's walked away from God, and you've been praying. You've been asking God to bring them back, but they're not coming back. Maybe for you've prayed for healing. You've gotten some report, some health report has come back, and you're like, God, please heal me, but healing hasn't come. I want you to know that when you are waiting, please remember that God is still working. And this whole time, God is working out a plan. In fact, by the time we get to chapter 3, something has shifted in Habakkuk's life. And it's so important that we talk about it. This shift is like it's like the key to everything that we're talking about right now. The problems haven't gone away. The situation is the very same. Nothing's changed there except Habakkuk. Habakkuk, his posture has changed. See if you can recognize it. In chapter 3, it says this, though the fig tree should not blossom, nor fruit be on the vine, the produce of the olive fail, and the fields yield no fruit, the flock be cut off from the fold, and there be no herd in the stalls, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will take joy in the God of my salvation. Though everything is falling apart, though nothing has changed, nothing is coming together, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. No matter what's going on. Maybe you're not pregnant yet. You can rejoice. Maybe you got a bad report from the doctor. You can rejoice. Your marriage is in shambles. You can rejoice. You need a job. Your child is far from God. You can rejoice. And that's where Habakkuk is. He's like, yet my God is still in his holy temple. My God, he's still large and in charge. Yet my God, he's always good. He's always faithful. And that's where he's at. He's not denying that things aren't bad. He's not pretending, and that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm not trying to get you to pretend that things aren't bad, because that's not what's going on here. What Habakkuk is doing is at the same time that he's wrestling with God, he's embracing God's goodness. He doesn't walk away. He's embracing him. And we know this by the way that he starts out chapter 3. Look at what chapter 3 says, and the way it starts out, a prayer of Habakkuk, the prophet, according to Shigionoth. This prayer is what changed him. And what's ironic is that nothing has happened. There's been no change in the situation. He's still in the middle of his confusion. But yet, Habakkuk goes from questioning God to singing to him. He goes from questions to a song. That's where the unusual word called Shigionoth comes in. Now, we got to practice that together, okay? I've been practicing it all week. I'm going to give you a moment to practice it as well. At the count of 3, I want you to just say it all together. Shigionoth, okay? 1, 2, 3. Shigionoth. Shigionoth. It's the only time that it's ever in the Bible is right here in Habakkuk chapter 3. Shigionoth, most scholars believe that it was like instructions given to the worship team. It was instructions, not necessarily about the lyrics, but about how a song should be sung. Now, scholars, they don't know how that song sounded. But one of the things that they do agree on is that it wasn't slow and it wasn't soft. It wasn't calm and reflective. Like this would not have been a song that you would sing as a lullaby to your kid. This would not be a song that you would slow dance to at a wedding. Okay, this is a song that you get shiggy with. Okay, this is a song where it's the exact opposite. And in fact, Shigionoth is this right here. It means this: a passionate, faith-filled cry of praise. Listen to it now. Sung that doesn't wait for everything to make sense. It's like you start to praise God even in the middle of all the chaos. It's bold, it's raw, it's emotional. It's worship that shouts in the dark. It's not a song that you sing after the breakthrough. It's a song that you sing while you're still in it. It's a song that you sing while you're still wrestling, while you're still in the waiting. And that's where Habakkuk is. He's not faking peace. He's fighting for it. He doesn't have all the answers. You don't sing Shigionoth when you have all the answers. You sing it because you're choosing to trust God anyway. Habakkuk is worshiping before the circumstances ever change. It's like it's a reflection of a decision to worship when nothing makes sense. Even though I don't see it, even though I don't feel it, even though nothing around me has changed, I will rejoice in the Lord my God. And that is where Habakkuk is. That is what faith sounds like when it has survived the fire. That is faith. That is what worship is like with scars. And this is a model for us. It's not denying our struggles, but it's declaring God's goodness in the middle of them. It's a song that you sing not because life is good, but because God still is. You see, you can worship with shaky hands. And you can worship with a broken heart. So it's Mother's Day. Now, I don't know about you, but it's a difficult day for me. It's a difficult day because on October the 20th of 2020, my mom stepped into heaven. The world would say that I had lost her. Something is only lost when you don't know where it's at. And I know where my mom is. She's not lost. She is in heaven with Jesus. If there was any loss, the loss would have started a decade before. In 2010, my mom was diagnosed with dementia. And man, I prayed. I prayed. And I believed. I believed that at any day she would regain her memory, her thoughts. She would become the same mom that I had known before dementia. I just knew that anytime they would come back from a doctor's visit and there would be some scan and they would say dementia was gone. Can I tell you, for 10 years, I questioned God. Even this week, I found myself when I was writing this message asking that same question, like, God, why? Like, why did you take my mom so early in life? You know, one of the things that we learned to do over the 10 years that my mom had dementia, we learned to sing. My mom loved to sing. She played the organ for church for over 50 years. So she knew every hymn out there, and she knew them all, and she didn't forget them, and we loved to sing. And in the final days of her life, that's exactly what we did. We sung. We praised God. even when our hearts were breaking. What do you do when your faith is shaken? When you have questions, what do you do? Well, you wrestle with God. And it's okay to wrestle with God. But at the same time that you wrestle with him, you embrace him. You trust him. You remember that he can handle your questions. Are you in chapter 1? Keep praying. Don't give up. Keep praying. You keep holding on. Are you in chapter 2? Just keep waiting. Just keep waiting. Because chapter 3 is coming. It's coming. And maybe you're here and you're like, well, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what I believe. Can I tell you something? You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have all your questions answered to step towards God. He's not afraid of your doubt. He's not afraid of your questions. In fact, he welcomes them. We see this, like the proof of that is in Jesus. Just look at Jesus. Jesus knows what it's like to wrestle. He knows what it's like to wrestle with pain and to wrestle with God. On the night when he was taken, he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and there he's praying, he's talking to God in conversation with him. And he's like, Father, if there's another way, yet not my will, but yours be done. He went to the cross willingly. He went to the cross. He died in our place. He rose again, proving that even in persecution, even in pain, even in the darkest moments of life, God is good. My friends, life is hard, and you are going to have questions. Faith isn't pretending that you don't have questions. Faith is being honest with your questions and still holding on, still clinging to God. So, if you're here today and you're wrestling with God, you can embrace him as well. Will you bow your heads? Close your eyes. I wonder how many of you would say today, just as honest as I know how to ask, I wonder how many of you would say, Lance, I'm wrestling with God right now. I'm wrestling with him in faith. Oh, I want to embrace him as well. Man, if that's your story, if that's where you're at right now, I want to know, would you lift your hand? Like, Pastor, I'm wrestling with God. I'm wrestling with him right now. Just lift it up. Lift it up really high. It's not something we hide. No, we talk about it. We're honest. Just hold it up for a moment, will you? I'm wrestling with God. Yeah, thank you for your honesty. You can put it right back down. There are others of you, and you're here today, and like you don't know where you stand with God. Okay, let's just be honest about that. You've had questions about him. You've been hurt. You've wondered if God even sees you at all. And I want to tell you something. He does. He sees you. And the way that I know that he sees you is because of the fact that he sent his son, Jesus. He sent Jesus. Jesus, he stepped into your pain. Jesus stepped into your questions, and he willingly went to the cross, and he died in your place. And he didn't just die. No, he rose again. He rose so that you could know God. Not a religion, not a set of rules, but you could have a real relationship with God. Even in your questions, even in your doubts, you can say yes to Jesus. You can invite him into your life. You can surrender your life to him. He can change you right where you're at. And no matter where you are right now, if you've never said yes to Jesus, then I want to invite you right now, say yes. You may say, well, Pastor, how do I know? I want to say yes. Then right where you are with your heads bowed, go ahead, bow your heads, close your eyes, and just pray this prayer with me. It's nothing magical about the prayer. It's what you mean in your heart. Just say his name, Jesus. Jesus, I believe in you. I believe that you are the Son of God, and that you gave your life for me on the cross. And I believe that you rose again. Go ahead, tell him that. And then say this, Jesus, I'm turning from my life of sin. I'm turning from my life of sin to a life surrendered to you. Jesus, come into my heart. I'm giving you my life. Go ahead, tell him that right now. Come into my heart. I'm giving you my life. Now listen to me. Listen very closely. If you just prayed that prayer, Jesus Christ just stepped into your heart. Your sins have been forgiven. You now have a relationship with God the Father. If that was your prayer, wherever you are, I want to ask you to do the very same thing that I asked folks to do a moment ago. Will you let me know? And the way that you can let me know is by simply lifting up your hand wherever you are. Just lift it up. By you lifting up your hand, you're saying, hey, Lance, I prayed that prayer. I said yes to Jesus. Where are you? Just lift it up. Just lift it up and hold it up. Hold it up really high. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I said yes to Jesus. I prayed that prayer with you. I said yes to him. Go ahead, just hold it up. Hold it up. Those of you that are on the other side of a screen, you can hold up your hand as well. If you're watching live, there are hosts that are in the chat rooms, and they're ready to connect up with you. Would you put your name in the chat section there? Just start with that, and they'll begin to reach out to you, okay? They'll give you information to connect up with you. Thank you for your honesty. Church, if you will, stand to your feet.